Welcome to, let me see here. There we go. Okay, never mind. Okay. The recording software was not looking very good for a second there. Anyway, welcome to Salsidoparanormal. Try that again. I'm your host, James Salsido. This is episode 691, and tonight I am sharing true paranormal stories from the web. As always, you can find all episodes of the show, along with links to all social media and other ways to contact me at the podcast page, and that is salsidoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions or accounts of paranormal experiences, whether they're your own or from others that you trust. Happy to either read those or have you join me on the show to talk about them. Thank you all for being here and listening, whether you are here for the live streams on Discord, or if you listen to the podcast or YouTube feeds, or on the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. There you can hear replays of 2 episodes of my show every night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, right before Michael Strange and Troubled Minds Radio comes on. And as always, I want to thank Michael Strange for having me on the network and putting my shows up there. If you'd like to support my show, that'd always be appreciated, but never expected. There's different ways to do that. You can always share the show with others and or rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform. You can find books I've written, paranormal fiction and nonfiction, over on Amazon, including my most recent release, Salsido Paranormal Experiences. You can also sign up for the Patreon page, where I put out extra content. Whenever possible. And not on a regular schedule anymore as of now, but if I get enough interest, then I will make that happen again. Or also, you can just make one-time donations through PayPal. Support is never expected, but always appreciated, especially these days. And because there are expenses in making these shows, from equipment to research materials to travel expenses in some cases. And I believe that takes care of everything. So, getting to the true paranormal stories from the web here. These are my favorite shows to do, and when I was trying to figure out how to, what shows to cover, what shows to do, when I had to sort of cut down on my, the amount of shows I put out every week. Just didn't want to do that, but I had to cut down. And when I did that, I knew these are the shows I wanted to do. So let's get right to those true stories here. And we'll start with this one. Let me see here. Okay. This one says, I work in a building with frequent unexplained events that people believe to be haunted. I guess that means that in a building that is not to be haunted. The building is old and was once an institution. Shadows are often seen in the hallways, department, and on the staircase by multiple employees. Objects like mittens frequently fall off shelves without any apparent cause. Footsteps are sometimes heard in the hallway, but when checked, no one is there. An employee once saw a girl in unusual clothing knock on the window and smile. When the employee briefly turned away and looked back, the girl had vanished. She wasn't seen leaving the building or walking on the road. While supervising 4 children upstairs, the other employees and children were away on a trip, I heard a man say, "Hi." Turning around, I saw no one there. An employee took pictures of the kids playing and placed her phone on a table before leaving the room. When she returned, the phone had disappeared. Despite searching and calling the phone, it didn't ring. It went straight to voicemail and was seemingly gone. Later, the phone reappeared on the same table where it was left. When called again, it rang normally. A child wanted wet wipes. Excuse me, I can't even talk. From a pack that was out of reach. While an employee watched, the pack slid across the table, the surface, on its own to reach the child. The other employees and I agree that everything we've experienced is rather unsettling, and that's where that one ends. So it sounds like it is still somewhat of a, I don't know, doesn't really say what exactly it is, but it seems like some kind of a child care, some kind of maybe a school, I don't know, daycare, I'm not really sure. But more like a school, I think, because it sounds like there's trips and everything that some of the kids go on. I understand them not really wanting to go into details about the name or the location or where it is or what exactly it is. That's not really a problem. But it sounds like the place is active. I can understand it being unsettling, but I'm glad to hear that overall. I mean, none of the experiences really sound like they're meant to be negative. The phone, it's amazing how many accounts there are about people having weird experiences with phones, either moving or vanishing and reappearing. And then the wild part there is for it to vanish, and then while it's gone, apparently gone, it goes straight to voicemail. So is it turned off? And then how did that happen? If it wasn't a living person that did that, how did that phone get to that stage where either it was turned off or put into a, I don't know, certain mode where it wouldn't receive calls, like a do not disturb, or I don't know. But then when it was put back where it had been, it was fine. That's not the most extreme story I've ever heard about a phone vanishing, but it's still up there. Of course, the one that always will ever forever stick in my mind is the one about the family who had a weird spot in their kitchen that they always felt weird when they walked through it. And this one day, the father dropped his phone, or his phone fell, and they heard it hit the floor, but then they looked, it wasn't there. And then years later, the family still lived in the same house, and they heard the sound of something hitting the floor, and it was that phone. And it was the exact phone that had fallen years earlier in that same weird spot. And so that's probably the most, I don't know, the most amazing experience I've ever heard of. Yeah, Sweets, I just saw your response in the chat there. That's from a while ago. I don't remember what episode that's from, but there are some stories of experiences that just stick, apparently, because this is after I've been doing this show now for 4 years, and I've been covering these true stories for almost all that time. Excuse me. And that is one of those few that really sticks in my mind because of just the how. How did that happen? Why did that happen? And of course, the questions that come after that is, I would love to have known. It didn't. The post never said. I really wish that there would have been more information about the state of the phone when it was found. Did it still have power at all, or was it completely turned off? And what would the clock have said on it if it was on, or if it would have turned it on for that brief second or whatever? If you would have had a chance to see it all, would it have shown a discrepancy in the amount of time that had passed? I don't know, but again, so there's something with phones. I should do a show all about modern cell phones and how weird interactions of those, because I think that could be a fun one. Maybe that's something we'll do at some point. But yeah, that's so anyway. So yeah, it sounds like, but getting back to this this current account there. Yeah, thank you for the questions there about that older story. Yep. Yeah, it's just there's so many details. That's the sort of the double-edged sword of doing these shows until I start getting a ton of listener stories, listener experiences sent to me, which is a hint to everyone that listens to the show. You're welcome to write up your experiences and send them to me, or come on the show if you want to. Until I start getting a ton of those to where I can have conversations with the people, I'm going to keep finding these reports online. I'll probably still keep finding those reports online because it is fun to do. And the double-edged sword of those is that you can't easily get more details all the time. The post is what it is. So yeah. But anyway, so it sounds like in this location, there's a lot going on there. Again, like I said, I understand that being unsettling if you're not used to these kinds of things, which I think people can get used to them if enough things happen over time to them. But it doesn't sound like the experiences are meant to be negative. That one about the package of wet wipes being out of reach of the kid who just apparently needed one or wanted one, and then having the package slide toward them, not in a fast way, not in a malicious way, just like, here you go. You need this? All right, here you go. Take the wet wipe from the package. That's amazing. So I just wonder about that and who is that and all those details. So anyway, moving on to the next one here. Let's see here. All right. Excuse me. The second one is a bit of a longer one, so there must be something I found that I was really interested in, because usually I don't share a lot of long ones. So this one says, this happened when I was 7 years old in California on the night of January 5th, or that's 5th, January 25th, 1999. I know this because there was a rare snowfall that was reported in local newspapers at the time. This experience, lasting just a few seconds, has stuck in my mind ever since. I woke up to see what appeared to be a gray alien crouched on my bed. It had a large head, big black eyes, greenish gray, smooth skin that looked almost like rubber, and it had a slit mouth. It didn't have a nose or visible ears, and no clothes. One knee was on the bed, with one leg off the bed to the side. The alien simply stared silently at me. I felt shocked but not terrified. That came later. I covered my head with the blanket, turned to my side, and fell back asleep. The next day, I was partially distracted by that rare snow day, yet still haunted by the memory. I did not share the experience with my parents because I couldn't understand or even describe what I had seen. I had no prior knowledge of, in quotation marks, gray aliens at the time. Later, at a friend's house, I saw a sci-fi movie depicting gray aliens. I recognized the similarity between what I saw on the movie and what I saw in my room. And that is when I learned the term alien. After that, I saw them in popular culture and media everywhere. It is possible that it could have been a hallucination, vivid nightmare, or a subconscious image from previous exposure that I wasn't aware of. The experience sparked a lifelong fascination with aliens and unexplained phenomena. I wonder if such encounters are intentionally designed to influence human culture, mythos, or spirituality. And that's where that one ends. And those are good questions at the end there. There's been a big sort of discussion about that over the years. And I think that's if even if it's not intentional, it definitely has influenced a lot of things. Uh, I can understand their they're trying to figure out what it was and maybe having these possibilities of what it could have been, not making it so that it wasn't so much anything unexplainable. But there's so many reports of this that I have a hard time believing that that's just our minds making things up when these things happen. So many experiences throughout time, but again, that's my own bias, I think, on that. Uh, so yeah, I don't know what that was, what they saw. I do think that it is possible for whoever or whatever is out there to take the shapes or appearances, take on forms, or the appearance of forms, um, when it or they want to. And I know that's very vague, but I do think that is something that can happen. And even if, let's say, it was a being, an entity that wasn't an alien from another world, if it was anything else they had heard about this kinds of being from popular culture, again, from all these movies and TV shows and books, or even accounts of experiences from before, who knows? Then it could be that's why it appeared that way to the person there. But again, I have no idea. I've never really seen, for all that I've seen, I've never, at least not yet anyway, seen anything I can describe as a gray alien or any of the sort of the well-known types of aliens that are out there. And again, also to me, alien to me just means unknown, unfamiliar. So I don't automatically go with assuming I know where they're from. But yeah, but I mean, I've seen in my really weird possible abduction experience, I didn't see clearly. I didn't clearly see gray aliens, but I did see gray blurs. Um, so I don't know if that's what those were or not, but I guess it's possible. But yeah, I don't know. I'm glad that nothing else really apparently happened to the person there with that experience. Hopefully, it was just a one-time thing. Granted, that can still be enough to have an impact on people for the rest of their lives. Obviously, they still remember it, and they're not a kid anymore, I'm guessing. But yeah, so moving on to the next one here, where all these accounts today are taking a little bit longer than usual, and we're not getting through too many, but that's okay. I did recently find another source for accounts for these true stories, so I've been actually I think a few of these here are from that, so that's been fun. Always looking for new sources of experiences, and I think I found one, and I think these first few here are, well, the last one and the next two, a couple are from that source. Anyway, this says this happened in Georgia near a small creek in a friend's backyard. It was around 4 or 5 p.m., and it was fall, during a calm and quiet day, with birds chirping. My brother, some friends, and I all saw something that we can't explain. It was a cream-colored or off-white colored figure, with no facial features. The head was in the shape of an elongated oval, similar to a football, I guess. That's one of the other comments I had there. For some reason, I didn't get that in the... Anyway. From the transfer process, didn't get that. It says it had a slim build and was slightly taller than the average human. The figure was initially staring at sticks on the ground. After some time, it looked up and stared at us without moving or making any sounds. We ran away, feeling more confused than scared. We saw it a year or two later, in the same area. The figure was closer, about 150 feet away. Its behavior was the same. It stood still, staring silently. It did not approach or react further, but appeared to be aware of our presence. This was the last time I saw it. I wonder if anyone has seen a similar pale humanoid with a football-shaped head and no facial features, as it has remained unexplained, as far as I know. That's where that one ends. I guess I was skipping ahead in my mind to the end there with the football shape reference. And yeah, I don't know what to make of that one. I've heard, of course, of pale figures, but usually I feel like they have at least some kind of facial features, but this one didn't. And I always wonder with these, again, did it have no features? Is it that they just weren't, I don't know, people that weren't able to process what they were seeing and it appeared in a certain way to them? Did it appear a certain way for a reason? I think there's always this interaction between what these what is actually there, what whoever or whatever they are try to sort of project to us through our minds and everything, and what we are able to actually process in our own minds and then see. I think those are all the factors that play into what is seen and experienced. So I don't know. It's that is a wild one there. I haven't heard of one quite like that before. And all these variations to me are always amazing because it's, I mean, really, it's all amazing. Whether it's the patterns are interesting, but the differences, the sort of one-off or one or two accounts of the same sighting versus compared to hundreds or more accounts of the same kind of sighting are always amazing because what causes those differences from the usual, more common patterns, and that I don't know. Let me look at the next one here and see if we have time to read it. Let me see here. It's a pretty small one. I'll just read it here real quick. This one says, this happened during a barbecue and pool party sleepover at a friend's house. We were admiring the surrounding scenery, which was especially beautiful that day. My friend, A, and I were getting out of the pool when we saw a tall, skinny, dark green creature that appeared to have moss and flowers covering it. The creature ran by quickly, startling both of us. Over the next few days, we heard clicking sounds and a weird screeching every few hours, but only during the daytime. The sounds stopped at night. It rained for the next few days after that, which, for some reason, seemed strange to us at the time. And that's where that one ends. And that is all the time we have for this episode. Thank you all for listening. I will talk to you all next time on Salsidoparanormal. Take care.